Hi, I am Co Forte, and I'm here to talk to you for just a few moments today on the topic launching your career as a Salesforce business analyst. I am a Salesforce business analyst and have been in the Salesforce ecosystem for over 10 years now. It's been quite a journey, and I can tell you from experience that it requires a transition to get into the business analyst role. And I'm here to talk today just about the mindsets, habits, and tools that are necessary to transition from an admin role or even an end user to the Salesforce ecosystem into the business analyst role. As with all things Salesforce, we want to make sure that you're making your decisions about purchasing based on what's readily available in the system now. And I want to start just by giving you your kudos for taking a few moments being here to learn something new about how to expand your career. I know that if you're here and you're listening, you've done some internal work and you've thought about where you are and you have a vision of where you would like to be. And you're taking action on getting there, and that's to be celebrated. I also do want to take a moment to share my story because a lot like you, I was in a place where I wasn't intending to build a career in tech. I'm not a computer science major. I don't come from a computing background. I'm a theater major, but I got my first real job. And at that job, the company used Salesforce. And I became very curious about how this technology that we were using worked on the back end. And I asked a lot of questions. I did a lot of digging, and it led me to start this hunt of personal expansion and transformation, as well as personal education about what it takes to really learn this platform and do well at it so that I could do my current job better. And I didn't know that would lead to getting certified as a Salesforce administrator, getting certified as a Salesforce business analyst, taking on the role of a consultant, and being able to speak to you today about what that journey was all about. So I thank you again for being here. I hope you have felt the shift in the industry in a positive way, but it's becoming more clear that companies are expecting Salesforce administrators to not only know how to configure Salesforce, but also have the skills and competencies of a business analyst because the nature of business is changing. More people are needed in a company to really align with the vision and the goals of the company, to align the technology needs to where the company is going in the future. And that takes not only knowing how the Salesforce system works, but also getting into the feeling and the energy of the company and really being able to be a cheerleader for the advances and the changes that are coming up for that company. And because of that, the transition into the BA role requires you to expand your capacity. There's already a lot of great things that you can do. If you are a Salesforce administrator and you've taken the test and you've passed, and you're maybe a solo admin or you're someone who is volunteering to grow your knowledge and your experience with Salesforce, then you're already doing great work. With that, there's more that can be done to really get you ready for the changes that are needed to be a great BA. So you want to combine what your knowledge of Salesforce already is with the ability to collaborate, communicate, and contribute. Because you're going to be supporting and enabling organizational change. So, what is organizational change and where does it come from? Organizational change starts with a need for a change, a need for the company to go from a current state to a future state. And those talks can come from high up on the chain. And there are people and stakeholders who are part of those changes that you might never talk to. But As information becomes available and you're putting all the pieces together, you'll find that there's a technology advancement that needs to be made. Like our company can't possibly run on the current technology course that it's on. So we've got to change out some things and add some other things to make us more profitable and streamlined. Or market shift. Some things outside of us are requiring us to make changes to how we do business. You might be in government and there's a policy change, or there's a merger or acquisition that just requires that the way we do business now is not going to support us in the way we need to do business going forward. So a change is necessary. And what the expectation is for a business analyst to do is to guide the organization through the complexities of that transformation while lowering any risks to how those changes are going to be made and how they're going to be implemented going forward, and helping people to adapt to the changes that are necessary in the organization. That's a key role that the business analyst plays. So along with your knowledge of technology, it will be helpful to do that. There's a lot of other things that you're doing to help with organizational change. And why is that? It's because organizational change is not just about changing a system with clicks of a button. It's about working with people. And those skills to work with people to really help them adapt, help them transform their mind from one way of doing a process to another is a key role of a business analyst. And in that role, you're going to be using a lot of different activities to get people on board. These things on this list, such as gap analysis, stakeholder management, user training, those are just a few of the activities that you might use in the process of an organizational change. And you'll learn about those things as you grow into the business analyst role. But first, it's important to capitalize on the mindset that you'll need to be successful at doing any of these things and growing in that capacity. The characteristics that you display to know that you are ready to make this transition into a business analyst are: you're the run that by him first person or the run that by her first person. What do I mean when I say that? I mean that people know that when a big decision is being made or there's a question or concern out there, they know that they can go to you and say, well, before we finalize this, let's run this by that person first, because they seem to just know things. They seem to have insight that a lot of us go to them and trust them with the information that they're giving us. You're also the type of person that asks why before building. Before you're making a change, adding a field, creating a button, creating a new layout, you ask why. You really want to get to the bottom of where this request comes from, how it's going to be used, and if it's really necessary. Why can lead to a yes, that's a good idea. Why can also lead down to a no, not a good idea. Or it can just be a matter of let's wait because there's other information that's coming in and we need to hold on that decision. But asking why is so crucial to a skill that you will need for being a great BA. You're able to synthesize and recall significant ideas and key decisions. This is a great portion of the work of a BA. You're getting information from all sides of the business, and you're really involved in and interested in how all of these ideas come together. What is it that is the core idea that is the follow through of all these different conversations that we're having? And you're able to synthesize that, put it together, and bring it up at key times that are important when it's time to make decisions. You intentionally seek diverse perspectives to get a well-rounded understanding. You're going to talk to a lot of people as a business analyst, a lot of people with a lot of different personality types who work in different sides of the business and do different functions. It's so important that you find value in all of these different types of conversations and that you can bring those perspectives together to help make business decisions made easy. And you use data to tell a story. There is such a great benefit to knowing how to put information down in a way that you can then show a cohesive story about what these numbers or these graphs are trying to tell you. So use data to tell a story as opposed to just making new documentation. That's a great aspect of being a BA. So let's talk about that mindset. The mindset that you want to adopt is one of curiosity. And I say curiosity without judgment. That without judgment piece is so important because you can be curious about a process and then you find out information and you start judging it. You've already broken down and put a wall against getting deeper into why a thing is to be. So, for instance, if you are curious about a process, you find out what the process is, and then you say, well, that's dumb. That's the worst process ever. I don't know why anyone would make a process like that. I would never do that. That's judging, right? So we want to put judgment to the side and we want to just remain curious to let us go deeper and to know more about a process, a person, a situation, a technology. But I want you to start your curiosity with the company. Who is the company that you work for? And I mean, who are they really? Who are they in the industry in which you work? Where do they fall in the industry? Who are their competitors? How are they performing in the industry? When was the last time you looked at the org chart? Do you know who reports to who? Do you know how the different teams interact with each other and where they intertwine and how they roll up the hierarchy? These are important questions to know because as you get into your role as a BA, it'll be vitally important for you to understand what groups and managers and stakeholders are part of a process that you are helping to develop or enhance. So start with a 360 of the company. Then you want to review the company's goals. Really stop to consider, how does this company make money? And that's not just, what kind of sales are they doing and what their revenue is, but that's good to know. But how do they really go to market? What technology are they using currently to get the product or service to market? How do the customers come into the company to buy those goods? What is that process and how do they really raise the revenue and generate revenue and keep the company going? Knowing the goals of the company are going to help you to know what they want to do and how the technology is going to support what they're doing and how they need to scale. And that's going to be important to know how you fit in to their goals. Then you want to understand the processes that are in place. What are the processes that we currently have? Start where you are. Start with what's already in place. That's a very important thing that a business analyst will do. We're not going in to make sweeping changes automatically. We just want to know current state. And we want to know why these processes are in place. And why is that? Well, there's history behind how we do work and what these processes came to be. And again, without judgment, we just want to hear how things are currently being done because we want to know what actually still works. If it's actually working and it's going to work in our future state, great. There's no big sweeping changes that need to be made. But if I can find some place and make a recommendation of how to get us better aligned to that future state, then that is where I can focus in. But I can't do any of that with only having a small idea or a small insight into the process. I need to know the whole process. Who else is involved in this process? Where does this go after it leaves this team? And what does the next team do with it? These are all great questions to go in with when you're reviewing a process. The next habit you want to have is leading from the inside out. Self-leadership is a great aspect of how you're going to make a full transition into an empowered business analyst. What I mean by that is knowing yourself, knowing how you learn, knowing how you lead, and being able to lead yourself in this process of great change. How easy is it to make a change in your personal life? It can be a little challenging, especially if you don't really know yourself and you haven't really committed to the change that needs to be made. Now, think about trying to make a change within the context of a large organization with a lot of people involved. That's going to cause some shakiness. There's going to be emotions involved, and that's to be expected because we're all human after all. So if you start with yourself and you're a real solid person in the midst of a great change and a lot of different things being kicked up for people who have to do their jobs differently, then you can truly be a leader. So one of the habits I want to start with is writing it down. This helps you to get in the habit of showing your work. And that's important because you first want to show your work to you so you fully understand, how do I learn? How do I process information? Am I making this make sense to me first so that I can then share this out to others and it can make sense to them? A lot of times we operate on teams, wherever you are in your journey, you might be operating on a team where there is a person, or you are the person who just knows stuff. It's just in your head, and we get by because we can go to you and it's in your head and you just do it. And okay, no one else has to be responsible for that information because it's in that person's head, and we'll just go to them and they'll, save the day. That is a very precarious place to be when you think about scaling a process or a change. We can't survive if things are only in someone's head, because what if that person is gone? What if we can't communicate with that person for a period of time? So it's very important to start getting in the habit of writing things down, showing your work first for your own knowledge, and then later we can transform that into a process document that can be shared with other people. And we all have the knowledge of how to be empowered and make business processes easier or make change more necessary and understandable because it's written down. The next thing you want to do is synthesize information. So as you get invited to more meetings and spaces of collaboration, you're going to hear a lot of conversations. You're going to hear a lot of people talking about different aspects of what they're working on and how they work and where that work is. It's going to be important for you to ask, so what? I went to this meeting, I sat there 30 minutes. I went to this other meeting, sat there for another 30 minutes. What do I need to know about this? What did I get out of any of that? What were the key ideas that came up, and how might they connect to each other? This is how you begin to synthesize what's happening in an organization and what important decisions are being placed in front of you. And when you ask, so what, then you start to see the through line. Then you start connecting the dots, and you can start to be that person who shows up and says, well, I remember in the last meeting, this person said this, but now today we're talking about it in this way. So did something change? Is this a new route we're going? If so, why? And then you can really help to kind of align everyone into the changes that are being discussed. Then you want to build trust. You build trust by showing up, by actively participating in places of collaboration. You want to be that person who people can see is involved and interested in what's happening day to day. That can be as simple as, if you're in a virtual meeting, turning on your camera. It can also be as impactful as, even if you're not the person who is giving the update or the focus of attention at the moment, just being present, giving the speaker your attention by eye contact, a smile, nodding your head, just showing, yeah, I'm with you. That builds a lot of trust and letting people know that you are someone who's actively in the process of listening and wanting to contribute to what's going on. Then you want to use tools to tell a story. Salesforce is a huge system that gives you so many tools that you can use to build reports or show records or bring data together in order for all of our processes to be streamlined, automated, and everything that you need to run very smoothly. But it's going to be a lot of time and energy to try to master everything that Salesforce can do. So, what I want you to think about as a business analyst is that you can just start by mastering what you currently know about the system and then continue to inform yourself and educate yourself about what's new. Salesforce does a great job of educating through Trailhead as well as the releases that come out. They always have documentation about the new things that are coming. Don't feel stressed to know everything about how to configure the system. You can rely on a lot of other resources within the organization who are going to be those experts in these other areas. But you stay informed and know, like, oh, I've heard about this new thing. Is there anybody here who knows exactly how to do that and can execute this? And I guarantee you there will be. Then you want to think about data modeling. So there are going to be lots of tools that are available for you to show how to diagram a process, like a Visio or a Lucid chart. These are great tools to show how data moves and how processes work. But I want to encourage you to start with what your company already uses and find ways to add value to that and have a great relationship or a great working knowledge of what your company already uses. When I started my journey as a business analyst, all I had was PowerPoint, and I was dragging shapes onto a canvas in order to show a process. It wasn't the most efficient thing, but it was what I had, and I was able to set up a primitive data model just using what those tools were. So if you're trying to go out there and learn new things and say, well, I heard about this other tool and I heard about this other thing and I'm using that on my own, but it doesn't really connect with anything that your company already has, and people can't easily download it or bring it into their desktop, it's probably not going to add as much value. So stick to what's available. And then you always want to stick to your core: trust, empathy, and communication. You're always telling stories all day across your organization. And as a business analyst, the expectation is that the stories that you tell are helping to align people, get them to both trust that the processes that are new and might be a little scary and uncomfortable are for the greater good of the company. You also want to lead with empathy in this area. A lot of listening from a place of non-judgment will be a part of how you connect with people and how you get them to allow them to tell you their story so that you can grow in your understanding of what historical processes were, what kind of the trepidation might be, and what the actual needs are. What can we do with the system now to make your life easier? And then communicating. You'll do a lot of both verbal and written communication. Get comfortable with your public speaking skills and have yourself some practice being a little bit embarrassed, being a little bit authentic, a lot authentic with how you show up. People really appreciate that. And then I can't talk about becoming a business analyst without talking about relationship building. You are a part of a network. Your family, your friends, the people you do your hobbies with, other people in your community, they're already very important to you, and you show up in ways for them that are very important to you. And as you expand your career, you're going to have to get comfortable talking to other people and being in the circle of people who are different from you, who do different things and think differently. But I like to think of relationship as horizontal and vertical relationships. There are people right next to you who might be on a different team, who you can start to talk to and collaborate with. Ask them what they do and let them know where you are in your journey and how you want to grow and expand into a BA. There's also vertical relationships that you should be making and think about making right now. Like, get in touch with your technical architect and let them know, hey, I'm interested in being a business analyst. Is there any, work that I can help with? Any project that needs someone to fill in, that's a great opportunity to show that you have initiative and you're looking to expand and you're willing to help out exactly where you are in other ways that a technical architect would really appreciate. But there are people around you within your organization right now who would be willing to coach you or sponsor you, or who need your coaching and mentorship in order to help you grow and transition into where you want to be. But first, I want you to set yourself up for success. When was the last time you looked at your job description? This is very important because you want to be sure that you are fulfilling all the expectations and requirements of your current job before you start doing other activities. This will be the best way to know that you're going to lead yourself in a position of saying, I'm doing my job, I'm filling it with excellence, and I know I can take on this other role of a business analyst because I'm doing my current work well. You also want to review your company policy for utilizing AI. AI is a great tool, and you'll learn all over the internet how different people as business analysts are using AI in their role. But you want to make sure your company is fully on board with how to use company information in an AI setting. Now it's time for you to choose your next step. There are business analyst thought leaders all within the Salesforce ecosystem that you can follow. There are trade publications and books. You can think about certification. There is a Salesforce business analyst certification that will give you a great overview of how to be a business analyst on the Salesforce platform and kind of the ideas that they really support in what a great business analyst is. And I want you to start telling your story. That includes telling your story to those people within your organization of how you are wanting to make this change. And also, you can use social media or LinkedIn to get online and say, hey, come with me on my journey as I grow my career from where I am to Salesforce Business Analyst. These are some helpful resources. There's a Salesforce Business Analyst trail mix that will help you prepare for the certification. And did you know there's an International Institute of Business Analysis? Well, there is. It's called IIBA, and you can find information on their site, iiba.org, about the International Institute and what their criteria is. They do a lot of great training material as well on how to be a business analyst, as well as the Scrum Alliance. They have a lot of information about how a BA works in an agile setting. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm Co-Forte. And again, I want to thank you for your time, for your attention, and keep growing in your career. I want to hear your story. So please connect with me. Thanks, and see you soon.
Thank you for watching. We would love to get your opinion on this content, so please leave us some feedback on the comments section below. If you did like this content, give that like button a tap, and of course, if you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the Salesforce Admin's YouTube channel. If you want to learn more about being a Salesforce admin in general, head on over to admin.salesforce.com. Thanks again.